All right, I think we're back. Crashed. As you do. As you do. Hmm. Oh, they fucked up Blender. Okay. Probably need to uninstall and reinstall Blender. Live replay was lost. Yeah, I crashed out. My computer did. Right, I'm gonna uninstall 5. Access violation. Could you make a section on the server for links and stuff, just in case you have any links you think could be helpful? Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Maybe I'll start making a little list here first. I won't commit to making it till I actually have made it, but when installing should be fine. That's not going to affect any of the blend file data. Now let's just open Blender 4.5. See what happens. All right, that does open. So, oh, okay, well, it works now. Good. Yay. Good, and we got this working. Perfect. We're going back here. Beautiful. So now we can fix that little issue there. Issue. Right, for all these lofts, we will want a resample off so they perfectly line up. You can drop a link for the export thing again. Let's hope we don't lose the VOD live replay again. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Hi, denormalized. And yeah, so Hi is a well-known creator in the VR chat community. And VTubing and VR chat, I suppose, more on the technical side, but they created a net exporter here. And they got a lot of other stuff you can use. This one I might replace with. Let's see, honestly, a cube mesh would be nice. Same. Maybe. combined services looking good though. Let's actually add a mirror for the subdivision. Now we can start seeing our character coming together. I do have to go to the restroom. I'll be right back. 1 moment. All right, I'm back. Sorry, restroom. Calling my name. I have to grab it later on phone right now, but keep both high and pumpkin. Prep 2. Try and find and learn time for sculpting. Make that list of tutorials, but again, life is hectic. Yeah, I think as long as you're just doing projects, you're gonna be just fine. It's really a lot more just about experimentation and having fun with things. Ah, oh, darn, did I lose the rotation on that? Okay, let's add another profile. We'll assign that. Excuse me. I guess I would want to be using one level up on these surfaces. So we go to our curves, select the objects, let's do the elbow. We'll actually bump it up. Yeah. And these guys. Just need to subdivide this one level. I've expected that to be so bad. Sorry, I had to make a smoothie and prepare a pizza. Love healthy smoothies. Good. Yeah, healthy food is the way to go. Let's this back up a little bit. I don't mind. That. Actually, slicing it should be easy. Changing the UV map after cutting it. That should be somewhat straightforward. But I do have to do it after the subdivision. Too healthy, just eating a cracker with easy cheese makes me sick. Excuse me. Well, interesting. I wonder why it curves up. Yeah, actually, I want to do it this way. I don't know why the merging, it's getting so messed up here. Length edge count. That would mean we need to up the profile hip. That's getting turned into a curve. Should be a curve of 8, which can't really verify there, but it should be 2. Let's zoom 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yeah. And so the knee also needs to be 8. Should work. Should work. Okay, there I am. I'm doing good. Definitely struggling with I have a new system I want to try with a new method making my characters. but it's definitely a work in progress. Okay, this should be 2. 2. Actually, not that terrible. Hello, Arisa. Welcome. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. We're doing some experimentation right now with some different workflows. Going for a fully procedural avatar workflow this time, at least at the moment. At least at the moment. Guess gonna get back at comms. Is that a resale? Ready to get back at comms? That'd be good. That's exciting. Evaluated is the way to go. Not quite merging here. Do the neck. A little farther than I expected. These other ones too big. 2. Got it correct, but I just want to take on small comps. I think that's a good idea. You know, if you could just do a bunch of small ones really fast, then you'd have some good money there. Okay, well that explains part of the issue. Now it's a circle of 8. Going to a circle of 8. Why would it be messing up? Finicky. Finicky. Oh, I see. Actually, I don't. Why is it like this? Are we getting an extra one? Should be working fine. I just want to take on small comps. What kind of comps? Like retextures and stuff? Definitely wrong with this one. There's two curves here. This object. Definitely don't want that. Selection to edge curve. It's probably because I added that middle one here. No. Still getting this here. Delete geometry. That is not it. And then just delete the edge. Oh, where's the hate? We upload the VOD for this. I gotta go to work, unfortunately. All my streams are backed up on YouTube, so yes. Should be Boolean. So let's say not equal to 1. Should still work. Nice, thanks, because I do want to see the new process. Okay, heck yeah. It's definitely a work in progress, but I'll make it procedural. Why do we end up with 2? It's only because we're subdividing. Deleting properly. It's nice. kind of silly to add, but it's all I can think to do, which is simply to delete geometry that is not mesh island 0. Didn't work. Actually, that is not equal to mesh island 0. Thank you. I don't know why we need that cleanup step, something with selecting the edges. That is improved. Don't like that we keep having to flip this around. We'll have to figure that out eventually. Has to be how so close yet so far. Okay. Profiles. So we go through each index. I think what we want to do is sort elements by factor. We want to do that for all of these. You can only do that as a mesh. It's annoying, but should work. So we'll do this again. Sort elements, capture attribute. Hopefully this works now because it just got annoying. Just going to encapsulate this and say curve to mesh sort elements. Boom. Or maybe even better. How about sort curve elements? Then I can simply go in here and code mesh. Or sorry, mesh. Okay. Doesn't work. That's okay. No, totally busted. Totally busted. Actually, that back. Go one more time. Okay. Okay. That is better. Yay. Hello, Bojo. Want to make the cavity effect for Blender. Unfortunately, making a post effect is really complicated. Just learning the basics might take some time, not using a downloaded asset for it. A cavity effect? Like a purely shader thing? Probably a good tutorial on that out there. I've heard of cavity maps, but never cavity effects. You could like, make some sort of a pattern appear in there or something. And how it curves here. I almost just want to do standard simple subdivision, or we combine and blend it. Maybe we'll sharpen this. Cool. click the curves. Oh, well, I didn't have them enabled. That would do it. You know, cavity effects, like for Blender, doing those things is fine. A lot of the times I want to have like my end result be in Unity. It is so much harder to do those kinds of post-processing effects in Unity because it's so limited in its power. Cavity effect in Blender, it's just like a post-processing effect. According to tutorial, it reads the pixels on the screen and applies the effect. Okay. Do shoulder end, elbow, wrist, point to RZ, local. There we go. Up the res here. Trying to shoot for squares. This is 2, and this is 5. That's 7, 8, 9, 10. Cool. Very cool. We're going to do one more profile, like the profile shoulder, but this one will be profile, neck, and we'd like to derive it from body, but we need to use profile neck, of course, and swap this to neck. Interesting. I guess I could simplify my selection to edge curve by simply doing mesh to curve, where it is not equal and edge corner. It's the inverse of that, equal to 1. And less than. Less than. Should be right. Should be in the attribute group and an edge neighbor. Hello, Kabar. Welcome. That should work. Less than. That gets too many. What happens if we do just this one? We get the edge. That is working. If we do this one, just get that. Some combination of these two. be end. It's an edge and it's in the group. Oh, but it's not an edge. It is an edge neighbor, but not from this group. So I guess we do need to delete. Yeah. Otherwise, we won't know what the edges really are. Okay. Fine. The challenge. Guess we're just recreating the same thing we had before. Equal 0. So bring those back. Somehow I'm back to this double annoyance. So right here, we're trying to delete the mesh island index. Maybe we'll try to do delete geometry spline and curve index. Okay. Cleaner. But not perfect on this one. And we'll do a simpler way to fix this. It's a little goofy, but what we can do is actually just mirror this object here. Then we get just this selection. And I'm gonna go here. We're gonna make another node. Call this mesh subdivision surface. Boom, boom. And we'll add a geometry node. Let's see, delete. Delete. In direction. Okay, so we'll say delete geometry, faces, normal. Normal direction. Direction. Selecting direction. I swear I had one of these before. Whatever. And we'll say in the negative y. Position. Correct. So from 0 to position gives us a direction. And then we can go dot product. Compare this dot product to the vector we input. We'll just say up to start with. Boom. And that's our selection by going greater than. We want to delete less than 0. Less than. And it's pointing straight up, so let's make it point to the side. Perfect. Now we can delete in whatever axis we to. Cool. And right now we're doing face. Let's do point. Would like to do less than. Gives it a slight buffer there. Okay, delete in direction. Mark as asset. Back to our here. Add that modifier. Boom. Negative x. We'll drop this in here, turn this off, save, new collection, toggle cyclic, modifier. Got a selection in there too. No reason not to. All right, a little bit more annoying to make that one work properly, but it is working now. Okay, let's take this one, get rid of the bottom, and add 2 neck. Get rid of pelvis 05. Interesting. Cyclic. flip doesn't do anything. So I was expecting that. Resample, weighted, still busted. We would prefer to resample without any of that. Why isn't that not working? Ah, it is because the neck profile is the head top and bottom. Okay. These need to be set to 2. There we go. So now we can start thinking about that. Let's make a I should apply the subdivision. I think I'm going to. That way we can do stuff like this, start pulling apart these curves. I suppose that defeats the purpose a little bit, so never mind. Let's hide that. The combined surface. Cool. Interesting. A little weird and bizarre. We're making solid progress. Let's go to like 7, maybe even 9 for this. Yeah. I prefer 5 or odd numbers for these lofts because that way you get a slice right in the middle. I think that's important. This one I may turn it back into a cube. All right, let's get some reference in here. Sorry, 140. Dang. Discord. Why do I look so old? Very cool. Do that one. here. Boom, 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 and boom. So we'll make one for emotes. That should be all of the ones except the last one. Not entirely sure how big the character currently is. But I do know that all of these I would prefer also be visible. Still rearranging. Alrighty. Right about there. Excuse me. Obviously, we're going to have a curve, circle, 2, and we'll use a real curve for this. Yeah, we'll use a curve. I'll put it right there. Move this up to our curve. This will be our tail. And for that one, we'll make a cube. Not a subdivision. We'll add one slice in the middle, and we're going to add a bevel to it. And then on here, add a modifier, bevel. Put that right there. And we'll set it to weight, because we only want to bevel that middle piece in only a certain amount. So this gives us a really fun way to be able to control how many slices we have down the middle. So let's do 5. It's kind of our usual. I guess 4. Boom. Something like that. And then we'll add a deform curve. You guessed it, we're going with that tail. Switch it to Y. And then grab the tail curve. Awesome. Got our tail set up. A lot more we can do with that. It's a good start. Let's double this. And we're shooting for squares. Not rectangles. Squares. Good. Hmm. Double check the height of the character. So we'll go to Discord. Can't remember if I was contacted on. That was through a form, so should. 2 meters. Perfect. So the entire character should fit right in here. There. Right about there. Actual ankle. I'd have to just go right there. Awesome. I know I started it off this way, but I'll probably redo the torso again at some point. And with this snapping here, right now I'm like exposing this curve object. I think I'd rather just say, oh, this object is close to this one. Snap them together. So some progress, also some issues, but we're exploring. And it'd be great too if it filled up a square to match whatever geometry we're snapping to it. I think we can get there, but it still will be a little bit of time. So I think how I'd want it to work for some of them is to select the centermost point. So give it a selection, get the centermost point, snap an object instance to it, align it, join it. Because I don't want to make the toes or fingers more than once. I will want to make them a single time, and that's it. Pretty much anything that shares a foundation, like the horns on the head, some of the teeth, fingernails, claws, fingers. I want to start really using like better instancing and reuse of my data. So I'm just like working very directly with source data and making it flexible and adaptive. Yeah. So let's try deforming. So we'll do edit, deform, or geonode, deform, or displacement. Okay, good. Well, we'll make one now. So file, open recent, geonode master. And we're going to do a little bit of experimentation because I'm very intrigued by some of the new features that have come out. So some of the new geometry nodes, you can inject geometry nodes into other nodes. And I want to figure out. Okay. So we'll call this one normal, or we'll just call it displacement, set position. And we'll make let's make a, sure, we'll do a UV sphere for now. And we'll rename this one more time. What the hell just happened? Set position modifier. Copy these, paste them here, and make a new one. Boom. Okay. So we're gonna set position. Okay. Is it encapsulate or again? I am human. Closure. Closure. Evaluate closure. Oh. Um, Closure. There. All right. Closure allows passing custom functionality into a node group. It acts like a function input, enabling user-defined behavior to be evaluated inside another node tree. Closures make node groups more flexible and reusable by letting users inject part of a node network into another. This allows building higher level tools where specific parts of a process can be customized without modifying the group itself. Closures are a socket type that represent callable node graphs. They define a set of inputs and outputs that can be evaluated inside another node group. When a closure is connected, its internal node group graph is injected in the evaluation. Okay, but you're still doing all of this within this one. Okay, so that's still not exactly what I want. Good. Good to know. So what we'll do is this one we will actually rename all this displace normals. Save, and we'll do a normal. Say 0 for the scale to start with. That's our offset. And we'll add that's it. That's all we'll do. Save. Okay. Let's make this asset. And we'll do set position. Of course, I already do have another one. So we can see it working there. That's not exactly what we want. Call this first scale the main scale, and then the second one attribute scale. Because we can inject another attribute, which we should have a few. Loft factor y, so that goes the length. Boom. Which is very cool, because now we can start defining how this shape will deform along the length. Awesome. we would like to control this a little bit more. So we're probably going to create a node to create a new attribute. So create new attribute, or a duplicate attribute is what we'll call it. Or we do a loft curve. We simply make that duplicate. Oh, we can just use the attribute with the loft curve. Original attribute's fine. We're just using the new one, and maybe we could save it afterwards. Okay. So up here, new collection. We'll call this float attribute, float curve attribute modifier. So what the hell does that mean? Do a UV sphere. We're just going to sample that one we just had, the set position. So we'll do another set position, or sorry, displays normals. We can go up by that much. And then we'll add another geometry node. This is a really annoying. Displays normals. So we want to store an attribute. Yeah, we'll just do a little weight paint real quick. So that'll be our attribute scale group. So you can see that we now have tweaked that influence, but we want to use our node, and we'll call this float curve attribute modifier, which allows us to take an object will map the range. One moment, everyone. All right, 1 second, everyone. All right, we're back. Wow, it's already 2. It's just flying by. So when we map this range, we want to be able to adjust. First, we want to just be able to take what is there already. So we'll take a stat node. And we'll take the minimum there and our maximum here. Put that right down there. So this is the attribute, this goes in here. So that shouldn't change anything, just sets the range. And we can actually add to min to max. We really want to change that. But then most importantly, we're going to I guess actually set the clamp from min to max. We have the 0 to 1. Yeah, actually, this is not quite it. Very close, so I do think we'll still need a map range node, but what we'll do is we'll take a curve, Bezier curve. And we'll use the local values, display local values. This one should be 0. This should be 1. Now we've created a float curve object. So as long as we don't change the scale, should be good, because we won't want to use the original geometry for this. We'll sample the curve based on the factor, but we'll use this attribute for the factor. So the attribute goes in 0 to 1 range. When it's looking at 0, it'd be looking at the 0 on the graph, 0 to 1. So if we just plug it in, oh, and then what we would be sampling would be the position separated. So it's just the y value. That's what we get. Sure. For every point we're sampling. But this factor here is just a single value. I would want to process it as a field. So I know I can take this range, what I've mapped out, 0 to 1, and we can adjust that. I think we'd want to use not stats, but takes the range, it float curves it. Okay, float curve like this, where it takes a value and it outputs a value. We can see that working. I go here, we take the attribute and we plug it in. Okay, yeah. That, so if we did opposite here, you can see we can start messing around with this. Getting other values. Should be changing a lot more, to be honest. So I think I would actually need to map the range here and then float curve. Okay, that's more what I was expecting. Okay, so basically normalize the range first. Okay, and then once that's done, maybe we can sample properly. From our curve, sample curve. And this one goes into the factor. Position, separate. X, Y, Z. We take the Z value. Subdivide. Not quite. This is a field. You can see that these are all field values. Maybe sampling the value directly. I just did the one. Oh, duh, we're not actually sampling the graph. That would be difficult to map then. There we go. Look at that. Okay, so now we'll be able to adjust the fall off of whatever attribute we have, float curve attribute modifier, by selecting a group. Then we can do the min and max here if we really want to. Totally not necessary. But we'll mark this as an asset. Go back to character. And that one was float curve attribute modifier. And what? Bezier 0 1. What we want, and we'd like to use the name, was it factor curve something, loft factor x. Let's copy that value. That before displace, and then we can adjust that. Rotation's good. This is good. Loft factor x for scaling. We have the wireframe. Should be able to adjust this value. It's not adjusting because we're using the wrong one. Now if we adjust it, excuse me, kitty cat, you're in the way. All right, so we can now set this to the local 0. Rotate it. This can go to 0.5 and Z1. Okay, and now you can see exactly why we wanted to do this. We can get some really solid curves while still maintaining our ability to move this around, and we still get a solid leg. It's pretty cool, huh? My big finger. And we can even do something like this, where we bring it's kind of down a little bit. Have this nice smooth taper, and we can even adjust our scale here. So boom, go negative. Could push in negative. I think I really want to, but for now, I like it. Put the reference up top. This one is should be in our bind surfaces. That's so nice because now we have these really simple handles, easy to manipulate, easy to change, and we can tweak them as much as we want. So let's we'll make a new curve. We're going to lower that. We'll put this here. And kind of give it, we'll actually copy all of these. Here, copy to selected. There is most likely some rearranging we'll have to do again later, but I'm interested in trying this out. The orientation here is correct, but our normals seem to be... Oh, I see. Seem to be doing exactly what they should. So we'll set this to 0 here. Subdivide, take this one, 0.5, 1. Sorry, actually, other way. Very cool. I actually want it to have quite a different curve. Could be a little more like this. All right. All right, little too thin. Again, this is really the whole promise of it is, see, we can maintain our profiles and still have full ability to change the mesh. Like, I don't know. I think that's going to make just such a huge difference in the long run, especially if we can keep building up all the interesting systems here. Fully procedural Ragon. There's so much more we can do because we could like limit it so it's just on one side. Yeah, side. Cool. I do want to figure out how to do the butt properly as well. So I'm thinking as we'll make a selection and then an extrusion from that selection, but do it dynamically. So let us select. This is 4 by 4. So we'll do this whole selection. All this. But. And we'll assign it. All right, now we're going to go back to GeoNode, and we're going to invent some new geometry nodes. We'll call this one dynamic extrusion or extrude GeoNode, GeoNode extrusion. Extrusion modifier. Do a plane. Go ahead and subdivide it a few times. We'll make a selection. Add a new group. Mark it as an asset. And we'll say extrude. Actually, solidify. So squeaky. We don't have a selection in this node. That would be good to add. So add the selection. That's how far we want it to go. We could do individual. Oh wait, solidify with segments. Selection, offset, individual. This is what will be different. So we want to be able to drive that value with like an average position and then a GeoNodes that lets you create handles. So let's just start by adding in that group, doing an input, see what we get. So now we're getting this, which is not great. We don't want to do vertices, we'd want to do faces, like so. We can see the whole thing's getting extruded now. Okay. So how do we determine this offset? So we would want to get the average position of that attribute, whatever the selection is here. I'm actually going to just separate this a little bit so it's cleaner. Okay, so we get the average position, which is the median right here. And what is it called again? Gizmo. Gizmo. Do a transform gizmo. The position is the median. And I believe we do something like could we just transform the whole thing? I think I'd rather just do a offset and scale. Scale would be nice. And rotation. So I guess, yeah, we do want to transform. How do I do that? So let's just plug that in. And then right, this is the visible handle. We join that. Okay, then we would want to take this out and separate transform. Well, right now we'll do just translation. So I got rid of all that. Just a socket right now. I don't see it here at all. Join bottom, it should be right there. So you can't just plug in a transform. All right, let's just look that up. Okay, value, the rotation impacts normal by 3D viewpoints, blah, blah, blah. Special gizmo value socket. Everything that's linked to this socket will be modified when the gizmo is modified. Position of the gizmo in the local space of the object, rotation, local orientation. That all seems great. I like that all. I feel like that should be adjusting things. Well, we're not actually getting any sort of movement right now, so obviously what's coming out of it is just 0. Under gizmo, transform gizmo. It drives backwards. Okay. So we go this way, it goes upstream. And then I'd want to separate the transform to translate this, I think. Okay. And then we'll actually just do transform geometry matrix, and this will be the simplest way to do that. Can I mix transforms? Combine transforms? No. Combine matrix. Mix. Float. Boolean. No, that's way too much. But I only want to move a little bit of it. I don't want to move all that. I just would like to move the top. Okay. Blender transform geometry selection. It's doing it to everything. Really, the mixing would have to happen before, right? We would want to combine the transform, and we'll just drop them all here. And what we'll do is we can combine them here, and then we can also combine them here, so this is what we're actually driving. And then we'll do another combination where we mix these vectors with 0 and 1, actually, in this one. 1. And that would be this top selection right here. Okay, and actually, no, we wouldn't be mixing. Can I just get the transform? Doesn't seem to be the case. Okay, so this is not what I'd want. So would have to recreate it using just set position stuff. Blech. Oh, no, I can just. Is this a field? It does not like this. Input expects a single value. Gotcha. Okay, here's a better way to do this. We're going to transform the geometry. We're going to set position, and we'll just capture attribute here, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to set that position by mixing the vector. position. So it's the transform geometry using our matrix, this one here. This one here. Full matrix. That's geometry. We can capture the position afterwards. We transform it. Position. We want to mix between our original position and our new position using top. That's our position there. It is breaking because this is not getting used, so we need to delete it and join it so it follows through. Nope. That should work. It is just the very top too. Definitely the end of the day. A little stuck on this one. So I should be able to extrude out the section. Could use the loft profile. I could just extrude it and move it around. That offset. Rotate it. Boom. Scale it. Okay. Okay, if that is the case, then setting position really is the way to go. And it's less, this is just so we have the translation values. Here, we would also like the median position. We would actually like it over here after we've moved it. Let's go with just a normal extrude mesh. So we take the geometry, we extrude it, and we're setting the position of just the top. We want to use this selection. The offset is the translation. We'll actually want to just set the whole position, won't we? So we'll take position, we'll add in location, this one always gets me. I have a tough time with this one. Just do this for now. Position. We take this and we can, in fact, add it. And the position here we would want to add. And don't like that it moved everything. That's a bit annoying. Median. It is moving it now. We just want to make sure that this is 0 to start with. Turn off individual. Now we can move it. We're really moving it this time. We want to be able to rotate it. So we'll set position. And what we'll do is rotate the vector. Vector rotate. Around the center. Vector is the position. And then we'll get that input. The rotation. This is our position. Oh, and then of course, just the selection, please. Let's do a domain, evaluate on domain, points, edge, base. Okay, lastly, we'll want to scale the position. So what we do is we take the input position and we want to go from our current position. Can you move a little? Fix it. Fix it. Go. Up. Go. So we're going to subtract vector math. Subtract. We would like to go from the position, from the location to that position. I guess it would actually be this value. Here, this creates a vector, which we can offset from. Once again, we're going to do just our selection. Boom. Let's normalize our value. And maybe this should be 0 to start with. No. That creates a vector, which we're scaling, which we're multiplying by scale. Starts at 0. Why it working? Maybe I needed to scale beforehand before moving. Okay. So we'll encapsulate that. Move this over here, get rid of that. Oh, actually, let's see the connection. To extrude, geometry. can see us scaling it right here. Not really as a group, though. Normalizing it. Oh, right. You wouldn't want to normalize it because each one is different. But we would want to know the median position. It's scaling it around. I guess we want to subtract it. We want to go from our current position. Oh, that was up front. Gotta go, but I'll catch the VOD later. Hey, sounds good, Popstar. Enjoy your day. I'm just about to end it here myself, so we'll see you soon. But have a good one. We're making some good progress. Maybe I do want to scale it just on that position over here. I don't think anything else would make sense because it needs to be in that updated spot. It needs to be looking at this point here, which would be, I guess I'm just going to get the average position right again. So I don't want to do this every time. Median goes here. This goes here. Now we can scale. Ah, interesting. Scale of 0 is normal. Now I can't change that. So we have the correct vector, and we're multiplying it. But I guess we would just want to still not right. We make a VRC instance. Hello, Tatsu. Not today. I'm hoping to get back to doing some dailies soon, but I had a epiphany on how I want to make my characters. So I've been exploring this purely procedural method for making some avatars, which is pretty fun. We can move this. We still retain all the deformations and things. It's all built into the mesh itself. Subdividing. Probably doesn't answer your question, but is there a specific thing you were looking for to see in VR, or just curious if I was going to hop into VR chat? Thanks. Cool furry instance. Well, I appreciate that. Honestly, I'm mostly a creator. I'm not in VR chat super often. I should be in there more often. Be good for my brand. But I appreciate the interest. Will I create a world? I do have a few worlds out there. If you Google my name, Sam Detter, or if you search Sam Detter in VR chat, you might find a few of my worlds, but certainly haven't interacted with them at all in a long time. Whoa. Hi. Oh, freaking cats. Yeah, this should be working. I see it scaling here. Buddy. Position, subtract, add. Maybe it needs to be position. This is terrible. I'm not doing this right. What did I already make this? Gizmo. This is totally offset weirdly. So I don't think I want to add anything to this. It should just be the position we're giving it. Yeah. That's more stable. Good. Try this one more time. I'm going to set the position by taking our current position and subtracting from that the average position of our selection right here. So this gives us a vector that we can offset. Offset's what I wanted. I don't need to update the position. I want offset. So we scale that. And we just want to multiply this by our scale. So perfect. And then we can just scale it again using our selection. Now which we'll want to evaluate on the domain of our bases. So close. Let's make this a comparison greater than 0. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. Let's actually review. Let me just look at it. That would actually be more accurate, is doing just the evaluate. Because if I wanted to move all of them equally, I should have assigned them fully. Oh, well, I guess it's because we are extruding. So yeah, we would want to evaluate on this domain and then use that comparison. So greater than right here, boom. Okay, so that's, well, extrusion modifier. Fascinating. So I think I have the setting position stuff correct now. Get your butt up. Come on. Get your butt up. Come on. Oh, I gotta get going. All right. It is time for me to go ahead and end my stream. Gotta go get on the road. But Tatsu, Kabar, Popstar, hope you're all having Bojo. Who else came by this morning or today? Happy Monday, everyone. Hope you're all having an amazing day. I do need to get moving. So I hope everyone's having a fantastic one. Arisa, hope you have an amazing day as well. And we'll see you all tomorrow for Tuesday. And we're going to have a good one. I'm very excited with this little system I'm making. It'll be very cool to see what the results will be like. Hopefully, completely procedural. Ciao. Later, Tatsu. Later, Arisa. Bye, everyone else. Bye.